Hey there, friends. It is Horror Movie Jake, and you know what? I get my hair cut tomorrow. Thank God, because I'm just not able to figure it out. I don't want anyone to think I'm crazy. It just looks like this. I don't know what's happening. Look, used to have like a mohawk mullet, and the top just like as I grew in the side. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Actually, it does matter because this movie had hair loss. Not that I have hair loss, but I have some weird hair theft going on. I just watched Sick of Myself, or Norwegian film. I forget the director's name. This movie was you could call it a horror comedy. I think it's more comedy than horror. And it was hilarious. It was hilarious. It was pretty disturbing. There was a lot of heavy things in this film, and we're gonna dive slightly into those. Not too far into it, because I want to keep it like a surprise for people. This movie is about this couple, mostly about the woman. Woman's the main character. Her name is Signa, and her and her boyfriend are kind of in this very intense, what's it called, codependent relationship where like they're always kind of trying to one up each other. The husband is getting more and more famous with his art, and the wife gets subjected at her job to like a dog attack. She doesn't get attacked by a dog, but somebody else does, and she saves her life. And then she realizes, oh, well, I can get attention too. And it becomes kind of this power play of her trying to get attention and overshadowing him, which sounds kind of boring, I guess you could say, like kind of nothing crazy. But the way that she does it, she makes herself sick, and it's about the repercussions of how, like, what she does and the rapid deterioration of herself, at the same time the success that comes from it. So there's this really cool dichotomy of like the worse she gets, the better her life in theory becomes, even though it's getting worse. Is really, really, really cool to see. And you know, it's satirical in a way, but not in a satirical in a way that bothers me. I don't like satire that much. I think it's too on the nose. I think it's too pretentious. I don't like pretentious. We know I don't like pretentious. And this movie was not pretentious because it didn't beat you over the head with a message. It was like, you know, it really was a character study about a narcissistic personality, codependent relationships, and this Munchausen syndrome, like upon oneself. And it was actually very sad to see. You know, as someone who's had a lot of health problems and overtreated and stuff like that, and kind of doing it in a way to feel in control of your own unhappiness. That's what this movie also got into, was this idea that you can't find happiness in the acceptance and the attention of others. And, you know, it's a very slippery slope once you start getting that dopamine hit of like people feel sorry for you. It's a victim mentality. This movie is very much about a victim mentality. And I really love that it did it in such a humorous way. Like, the direction was hilarious. There were some subtle things that like side characters did and background characters did that was so brilliant. That was so brilliant and so hilarious. So much physical comedy was in this movie. The actors were incredible. The main lady looked like Jennifer Lawrence, and then the male looked like the guy from The White Lotus. I forget his name. The douchebag, aka all of them. It was a really fantastic film. I don't know if it would be for everybody, because there is body horror to it. As the body deteriorates and like it gets kind of gross, not gross enough to like it really would be that bad. I mean, you can see all this sort of like this level of gore on TV. I really do think that it is a wonderful if you're able to get past subtitles. I know some people just don't like foreign films, and I get that. It's hard, but I don't think anything was lost in translation here. Like, really, the same humor was there, and I wonder if that's kind of Norwegian, maybe the language across the board, because I feel like there's always something lost in translation with a dub. And this one, it was just fantastic. I might give Triangle of Sadness a try based off of this. For some reason, I got a feeling that they might be the same, but this movie was a good length. Okay, I will go back and say that it did drag quite a lot. And I think it's because it kind of lost where like a place to go. Like, you know, I mean, we saw where it was coming from a mile away. She's like, you know, her delusions are getting more and stuff like that. I'm not saying what's happening. I mean, the ending might actually surprise you. So at a certain point, I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. Okay, all right. So even as each individual scene was entertaining, I think every single scene was great. Every single scene was incredible. As a whole, it got to a point where I was like, you know, I guess I kind of just like wish there was some more variety to it outside of like, let's just see how this lady tops herself. And that's okay. Like, you know, the film did what it did, and it was very beautiful, like brilliant. This guy's actually coming out with another film with Nicolas Cage very, very soon. I actually think this month or something. It's also more of like a comedy, drama, horror. And so I'm excited to see that as well. I'm very hesitant about Nicolas Cage nowadays because either he's taking his roles very seriously or very opposite, and I just like I can't buy into it. I hate campy. I'm really glad that this movie didn't have really campy humor. The humor was smart. The characters were really good. I wish I had a little bit more understanding of the husband character. I got more understanding of like what drove this girl more or less to do what she did. But he was also like, self-destructive in his way. He stole couches for his art installations and like branded himself as the couch thief. So like, he's putting himself out there and risking, himself too. So he's also a really unique character. But I found that I cared less about him because we got to spend less time with him. And the time that we did spend with him, he really was kind of just more surface level. He was either a jerk or a really good boyfriend. And there really wasn't any nuance there. And that's okay. It's all right. Like, the movie was about her. I wish they dove a little bit more into the relationship. I think maybe just, like, played a bit more on the codependency there. There was some done. And there was also, it's kind of hard sometimes to understand what was reality and what wasn't, like, what was in her head. But I think, like, that didn't take away from anything. It just sometimes took me out of the scene where I was like, did we just do a 1 year time jump? Because it really did feel like that. So that was just something that might have just been editing wise. I highly recommend this. I think it was so fun. And I think you could like really watch this movie objectively and not think about the serious implications and still really enjoy it, and then vice versa do it. I don't think it's a movie that's ever going to bring you down enough where it's like, oh wow, I regret watching it, that was a Debbie Downer, because it did have such a consistent level of hilarity to it, which is a rarity. Somebody said that this reminds them of The Worst Person in the World, which is a film I also want to see. I actually rented it and then never watched it, and so then I wasted the rental. Boy, I do that a lot. So I'll do that probably. I have like 2 more movies I'm going to try to watch tonight. I've been watching, just like hardcore applying to jobs. I think 50 today. Maybe I should just do what she did. No. I like my face too much. Okay. Let's see what else is kind of happening. I'll have to do one for this B movie I watched. I'm dreading doing this review because the movie was just hot garbage, but I've committed.